Get up right now.
Police ordering OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny off the ground after she stabbed her boyfriend, Christian Abamselli. She claims self-defense. Does this new footage help her or hurt her? And what about her parents?
It definitely hurt her the most.
There are warrants for you and your wife's arrest? What? I know.
New videos also showing the moments her parents are arrested as they are accused of trying to help their daughter hide evidence. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Courtney Clenny has been in jail in Miami for well over a year, awaiting trial for the death of her boyfriend, Christian Abamselli, in April of 2022. Body camera footage, just released to Clenny's attorneys by prosecutors, show Courtney Clenny covered in blood as police arrived. Take a look.
No, I can't let this okay. It's my goal. Wait, it wasn't. Guys,
Relax.
Why? No, guys.
Relax.
Boss, what's going on? Hey, you good? What do you have?
Relax.
What are you doing from? Go.
Guys, please.
Relax. Sit down.
Here. Okay.
Sit down.
Here, just let me.
Sit down.
Okay. Baby, come here. Just sit down. Sit down.
Now, we have to blur some of that blood. It's just too gruesome, but we can tell you the scene is a mess. Clenny is placed in the hallway. She talks with officers who have placed her in handcuffs as she sits on the floor.
Homicide, the one responding for DV.
Wait, is he dead? Is he dead?
Sit down.
Sit down.
Okay, no, I'll sit down. I just scared me.
Sit down.
He's not dead, is he?
No, they're taking him to the hospital right now.
He's in the hospital right now.
I need to be at the hospital with him.
No, you're not going anywhere.
Why?
Because we're conducting an investigation.
It was free. It was I was self-defense. My mom was on the phone.
Okay, well, listen, the detectives are coming, you're gonna talk to them, and then you're gonna explain your side.
But I'm gonna be covered in blood. I look crazy. I was holding him while he was spurting blood, trying to stop the...
You know, now that there's new information about this situation that is coming out, that is coming to light, this woman who was famous for killing a black man for no apparent reason, just because he was doing this and that or whatever. But again, we really don't know what really happened between those two, but it's the fact that we got new information that is coming out like today. New footage of her getting arrested, her parents getting involved, and it really goes to show you that if you create a monster, then you are also at fault of how they were brought up.
And what happened?
Threw me against the wall. You're looking like this. He's never choked me to where it's like...
Okay,
crazy stuff. But I couldn't breathe.
Okay.
Then he put me on the...
So he throws you against the wall?
Then he put me on the ground, choked me. That's happened 2 other times.
Did he tell you anything? Did he say
just
anything?
like that kind of face, where I was really scared and I was trying to get him off of me and he wouldn't get off. Then he gets off, then I call my mom.
Okay.
And then I went into the other room and I was talking to her and I was crying and saying like something has happened, I don't know what's going on with Christian. And I was just crying, whatever. And then I went to the kitchen and he started charging at me. And I said I'm gonna throw this at you. And he goes, do it. And then he charged me and threw it. But he was far away and I never in a million years I'm
he threw
scared.
a statue at you?
No. It was the knife. I said I was just holding it to be please don't come anywhere near me.
First of all, you can stop the cap for all I care. Second of all, you were seen attacking your boyfriend in the elevator, in the house. And then when push comes to shove, you stab your boyfriend multiple times and try to make it seem like it was self-defense. You are still lying on your oath. You lied about self-defense. You lied about killing your boyfriend, and you lied about being abusive towards him, and you basically were caught using a racial slur against him because you don't like the fact that he's not doing things your way all the time. But according to the residents in Miami that witnessed the whole thing, you were the one that perpetrated the entire thing. That's why your ass got the short of the stick in jail. So hopefully, when there's a trial awaits you, I hope to God they don't give you no less years in jail because of your gender. You deserve the same amount of punishment as the men do in prison. like you deserve life in jail because you took away the man's life. And your parents, they deserve the same amount of punishment as well because they helped raise a monster like you.
And a bikini top, but police ask her if she has something they can place over her.
My boyfriend's blood is all over.
I know, but you can't. Unfortunately, you can't go in there. You can't go in the apartment.
4220 stars.
Okay.
43.
694. Okay. I have on
We have a
my couch.
On the inside.
On the inside, not like a full couch, but on like the couch kind of chair. Just like a loose, like comfortable shirt. I think that there's like t-shirts or whatever in there. And then there's a pair of gray NBA sweatpants that are his. That like wear.
As Clenny sits in the hallway of her condo complex, she asks to see Christian Abamseli.
One of the main reasons why you shouldn't move to Miami, it's bad out there. I don't care if it's for business, to build a career, to be famous for. Miami and Florida, or even worse.
I have to.
You gotta give us a statement.
That's fine. But can I go to the hospital?
After we done, yes.
Can I say bye? Can I say bye to my neighbor? I'll be right back, boys. I'll be right back, okay? I'm here. I'll be right back. Ranger, I'll be right back.
Clenny is also very concerned about her dog and what will happen to him.
I don't know why you worry about the dog.
Prado, this is my number. You can call me. Call the friend.
No one. He already saw it. They're ready to check this, okay?
Police take Courtney Clenny to the police station to interview her. Later on, in the interrogation room, Courtney Clenny appears shocked when she is told that Christian Abamseli is dead.
I have to inform you that Christian did not make it. Okay. Unfortunately,
She is doing a terrible job at acting because you can tell that she knew exactly what she was doing, and that's why she's over here acting like,
Courtney Clenny
oh
was
my
charged
God, he's
months
dead.
later
Like,
with second-degree
bitch,
murder.
you
Now
killed
her
the man.
parents also face charges.
I have to cancel the Ashley. I'm supposed to be here in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Deborah.
So,
nobody's
no, I'm not okay.
I know.
Nobody's going to hurt you. I understand. I mean,
I know.
you're physically
This
okay.
whole
You'll
deal
get
is
through.
We certainly understand.
Him and Deborah Clenny are accused of trying to log into Christian Abamseli's computer after he died to help their daughter. Courtney faces the same charges. The Clenny's attorneys have called the allegations frivolous.
That I did not know. That the parents try to get inside his computers just to help their daughter cover up the murder. They're also at fault in this as well. That explains it.
Of Courtney Clenny mean for her case. Joining me to discuss this are two people who've been following the case. Josh Ritter is a defense attorney and former prosecutor, and Joel Waldman is the host of the Surviving the Survivor podcast. Thanks to both of you for coming on. Josh, I'll start with you. From the former prosecutor's perspective, does this make Courtney Clenny look more guilty of second-degree murder? She's standing there covered in blood. She's saying she was trying to save him. She continues to ask about him, but she's admitting that she killed him.
Yeah, I think it cuts both ways, as you pointed out. You're right. She's covered. As far as proving did she kill him, it's a win for the prosecution. She's covered in blood. She's talking about her involvement. But if you're the defense, you're not exactly completely afraid of this video, because I think it does show her in a state of shock. I think it does show her still concerned about him. I certainly don't think it shows a bunch.
She wasn't concerned when she was accusing him of doing all that cheating and all of that. Beating him up in the elevator, calling him the N-word, killing him. And basically, she wasn't acting like that when she was attacking him. And now all of a sudden, she want to cry wolf like he's dead when you literally took a man's life.
And, premeditated types of feelings about she wanted him dead. So I think it's certainly going to play into the prosecution. They're going to use it at trial to prove that she was involved in the murder. But I think if you're the defense, there's a way to spin this to their favor.
Yeah, I saw that as well, because she comes out and says, it was self-defense. My mom was on the phone, and the state's going to say, no, you weren't on the phone with your mom. You called your mom after you killed him, and you waited. You got your story straight, things like that. But, she is voicing concern for him. She's asking if he's dead. She's saying she tried to stop the bleeding. So I think there are things that the defense could point to say, look, she was worried. Joel, you know, you're a news person, just like me. We're skeptical people. What are your thoughts and your reaction to seeing this body camera footage and Courtney Clenny's behavior in it?
Well, I would have been smarter to be a criminal defense attorney like Josh Ritter. I'd be making a lot more money, but I'll do that I'll do that in my next lifetime. But, you know, you guys were also just talking about the parents. So what's interesting about now the body cam footage that has been released of Courtney Clenny, keep in mind, she called her mother before calling 911. The video is tough to look at. I mean, she's literally dripping in blood. And
from what I don't understand about this whole situation, why would she even call her mother? Her mother can't help her cover up the blood or cover up the murder. Like, her mother is not a doctor or a police officer. She should have called the police first and then called her parents. But it's unfortunate that they got everything backwards. This girl killed this man. All because he was cheating on her, which he didn't look like he did. And like I said, everybody that saw this whole thing, they all pointed at you. Like, you were the one that started it, created it. You are the perpetrator of murdering someone. And I'm telling y'all, these 304s will stop at nothing to get out of trouble when we all know full well that they are exposed. New evidence, new footage, new documents, new information. To my surprise, her parents, you can tell that when two idiot adults create monsters that we know them out to be, it's no surprising. So it's obvious to me that this girl will probably get lesser sentence in jail because of who she is. But if a man did this shit, his ass would have gotten life in jail. No parole, no second chances. But when it comes to females, however, they always get a slap in the wrist. And that's not right.
Remorseful, but more so for herself than anyone else. In other words, she sounds worried for how this is going to look and feel and be for the public at large. She knows it's being recorded, I think, at that moment. And she keeps saying, wake up to Christian Obumseli, her boyfriend, who we now know was stabbed and killed by her. And so she's petrified because it's kind of a, you know what moment where she's starting to realize he's probably not with us anymore, and I'm here covered in blood. So, you know, Josh thinks it could help the defense. I definitely think it could help the state, but lawyers on both sides are going to be very savvy and try to use it to their benefit.
So you think there might have been a bit of acting in there? Like, you think that there were some theatrics, Joel?
Well, I think that she's been in these situations, obviously not as grave as this before, but she's been in domestic violence situations, and I think she realizes at this point that it went too far. I'm not saying that, you know, she doesn't have any element of guilt or a pearl of guilt.
Look, she gained weight. I don't care.
Remorse for Christian
she
as well.
Deserves the right in prison.
She's worried for herself, and that's why she called her mother first. And I do think that the state is going to use this to their benefit when and if this goes to trial. She's been sitting here in Miami-Dade County for a long time now. And as we know, I know you're going to get to the parents. You know, they've been charged as well with obstruction in this case. So it is a messy case, and she's got a long road ahead of her if she ever wants to see the light of day, at least in the near future.
She's not. I hope to God they don't just turn the switcheroo and just give her a slap in the wrist. I don't want to see that.
Thought out, premeditated, pre-planned act. Obviously, you know, it's still a second-degree murder. I mean, this man lost his life. Her defense attorneys, I've talked with them in the past. I've interviewed them. And they say, look, there's no doubt this was a toxic relationship. These were people who
very
abused
toxic
substances.
Here's the thing that I've seen in most cases of domestic violence in my life. Anytime when you see a couple that is young and dumb, when they choose the wrong type of people, they choose to stick by them. In which cases it can result in murder, suicide, drug overdose, and self-harm. Because the person that they're with is just as bad as they are. And what saddens me about this whole thing is that you have young adults that don't really think for themselves, that don't have a common sense to not be with somebody who is degrading and putting people down all the time and just demanding things to go their way for the most part. But what they don't realize is that if that person becomes someone like a murderer or a maniac for that matter, that is going around doing God knows what, and if there's no trust in a relationship, there's no trust, period. It's obvious to me that we have a bunch of nut jobs nowadays that will go in these toxic relationships that we've seen on social media nowadays. The justice system is very broken at this point, because I just got finished watching another video by her about a female teacher that got 10 years of sex offender registry. Why she's not serving time in jail is beyond me, but that's basically how the law is nowadays when it comes to females. They always get away with a lot. But if a man did this, he'll get life in jail. He will have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. But when it comes to her, she got a short stick. And based on that alone, I think nowadays society has gotten everything mixed up, broken at this point, because there's no point of like trying to get the jurors to understand why this person deserves more than what they normally get when they serve time in jail.
This was self-defense. So self-defense cases, I feel like, especially if the defendant gets on the stand, sometimes they're pretty successful, because then it puts the burden on the state to show that the defendant didn't act in self-defense.
Yeah, and it all comes down to a reasonableness standard. The jury's gonna be asked, was it reasonable under the circumstances for her, first of all, to believe that her life was being threatened, and was her response, her use of force, reasonable in its degree? So was it reasonable for her to respond to his threats, whatever they were, by using a knife? And I think that's going to be a big problem here, is the way that he was killed. We're not talking about we got into a fight, I pushed him, he happened to fall down the stairs, this is all a horrible accident, I never intended for this to happen, or, you know, I grabbed the nearest thing around me and I swung it at him. This is a stabbing death. I mean, that there's a little bit, an extra element of criminal intent involved in that.
But the problem with that situation is that she started it. She's putting it all on social media for the whole world to know about her personal business. Hell, in fact, she was the one that recorded herself getting into it with him when he basically did nothing wrong but defend himself.
She's covered in blood. This isn't, I swung a knife at him one time and happened to nick him, and we all got unlucky and he ended up dead. This is a stabbing that ended up with a great amount of blood loss. So, yeah, I think the only argument she can make is for self-defense, but it's interesting that the prosecution has gone with second-degree murder here rather than a voluntary manslaughter, which might align more with the idea of a spur-of-the-moment, heat of passion sort of action taken on her part. But they believe there was some degree of deliberation before this murder.
Yeah, and Jeanette, if I can just hop in real quick on this too. You know, the story that the defense has proposed, and that Courtney Clenny obviously told her defense team, is that she flung this knife from 10 feet away while on her knees, and that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And anyone with any reasonable mind is going to have a really hard time believing that. So I think there are already some holes in her story that are going to be very problematic for her. And her attorney, I don't think, and I've had other attorneys on to address this, a guy named Frank Prieto, I don't think he's helping the case, because he's making wild accusations in public about Christian Obumseli, among them that he was dealing in human trafficking. This is on top of domestic violence allegations.
I'm not really surprised either, because when a murderer that has two defense lawyers that are even stupid or even delusional as hell, because number one, how are you going to accuse the murder victim of sex trafficking when he didn't even do those type of things? I don't get it.
And there's no indication that he was involved in this
at all.
In any way. As a matter of fact, it's the complete opposite. Anyone who has spoken to Christian Obumseli's character says he's completely on the up and up. that he was just trying to make a way for himself as an entrepreneur here in Miami. So to hurl these accusations of human trafficking his way, coupled with the fact that they say that she hurled this knife from 10 feet away and just happened to nick his carotid artery. It was one of the arteries in the neck. And have people believe that. That's a bit of a stretch, I think.
Yeah, and I should note, as far as the knife goes, the stab wound, they're claiming, the attorneys claim, the prosecutor, I should say, that knife wound actually came, it was had to have been like a downward thrust. If you look at some of the documents, they claim
it's kind of like what it looks like.
Says from their analysis that you couldn't have just flung a knife and hit like that. And Frank Prieto, I should say, I reached out to him for a comment on this latest body camera footage release, and he has not yet responded. So interesting.
Because he doesn't have any idea what he's talking about, because he knows he looks stupid.
I had not heard those, but he has said that Christian was abusive to Courtney, but everything we've heard was that she was the aggressor in this relationship, and everything we've seen are videos of her attacking him. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on at trial. Let's pivot now to the parents' arrest. The parents and Courtney Clenny are now both facing felony charges of accessing illegally unauthorized use of a computer and trying to access Christian Abamseli's computer by guessing passwords after he was dead in an effort to find evidence that might help Courtney Clenny.
At this point, you have a bunch of parents out here that will do everything in their power to save their children from God knows who. And it's obvious to me that they knew what they did was wrong, and they didn't want to justify it as if what they did was okay. The problem is that you decided to go to a dead man's computer to find new information to try to expose him, but it all ended up backfiring on both of them. Just so you can help your daughter get out of this messy situation. And you just made it 10 times worse. So yes, it is a crime.
I can't believe they're being arrested. But if you look at some of the information that came out, they're obviously trying to get into that laptop. So what are your thoughts on that footage showing the father, especially of Courtney Clenny, being shocked that he's being charged?
Catch some heat for this, but I actually feel bad for the parents here. What they did was wrong. Trying to access the computer is wrong. If those allegations are true and they're actually trying to break into his computer and trying to figure out his password, that is the kind of stuff that is taken very seriously by criminal courts, because now you're dealing with somehow obstructing an investigation, maybe attempting to destroy evidence. All of that is horrible, horrible stuff. But you also got these parents who've have their daughter who's in a horrible situation herself. She's looking to go to prison for a very long time. And a part of me feels like these are parents who were, I would do anything to help my children. They stepped over the line, but you can see that kind of realization hitting them in real time as they're being arrested, that, oh my God, we weren't just helping out our child, we were actually breaking the law as we were trying to do that. It's funny to me in that video, the police officers also seem to be very kind of conciliatory to the parents. They're almost apologetic at points, explaining to them, listen, we get it, we understand, but we have to take you in. And that's how it should be handled. This isn't a crime of violence that they committed. Shouldn't come in with guns raised and forcing everybody on the ground. But at the same time, it's serious business, and they do need to take them in and arrest them. And I imagine charges will be pursued.
Joel, your thoughts? They are facing that one felony charge. Their attorney says it's all frivolous, that they didn't do anything wrong.
Cat. Make a cat. Once again, Courtney's attorneys, her parents' attorneys, they're all saying a bunch of nonsense, which is all lies. They try to, once again, excuse their parents' actions as to what they did was justifiable by hacking into somebody's computer just to expose them. And when they say that they did nothing wrong, look in the mirror. They did exactly everything wrong. And they don't want to take ownership or accountability for it. That's sad.
All three of us are parents. We would do whatever we could to help our kids. I'm not sure we would break the law.
Yeah, you know, I 100% agree with what Josh said, and I guess I'll take heat as well because I'm a parent of three, and, you know, there's nothing that you wouldn't do for your children, but you'd like to think that you wouldn't break the law. But it also goes back to the old adage, you know, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know exactly at this point what the parents did. Obviously, they're impeding in an investigation, and it also goes back to my earlier point that Courtney is still very close with her mother, and clearly called her before ever calling 911. So they had a huge head start, head of law enforcement on this. They knew what was going on to some degree, and they obviously tried to access the computer and manipulate it in one way or another. So, you know, they're going to have to pay the piper for that. And I do agree with Josh as well that charges will be pursued here, but you've got to feel for them just from a human perspective that they are parents in all this, and daughters. And
I don't give a damn if those are her parents or not. They knew exactly what they did was wrong, and they need to be held accountable for their own actions. I hate when people try to feel sorry for criminals that get involved in these cases that it's not even their business. They are a part of the problem.
But again, this is a country of laws, and you can't go around breaking laws, breaking into people's computers after the fact. And so I do think that the state will go after them, and they will face some pretty harsh and stiff charges, if not penalties, for doing this.
No doubt. Well, thanks to both of you, Josh Ritter and Joel Wall.
Shout outs to this content creator. If you want the original video, it'll be down below. You know what? At the end of the day, her and her parents deserve hell and jail for all I care, because they took away the man's life. They try to go into his computer for personal information just to expose him, and it all ended up backfiring on both of them. And their attorneys, they suck. They can take this L for all I care, because they try to cover up their bad behaviors, and they won't hold Courtney and her people accountable for their own actions. The same situation can be said about Ron Osman, aka the Break Lady. There's a trial that is currently going on, and if there's new information about what's going on over there, I think, you know, my girl Celebird will always be the one to provide people with updates, because she is the queen of accountability. So, yeah. This is crazy. This is beyond crazy, and I don't feel sorry for her parents or her at all, because I think all three of them deserve jail time. Like, there's nothing they can do to bring Kristen back. So, the videos, the documents, the texts, the videos, they don't lie. Even the people that witnessed the whole thing in Miami, they didn't lie either. They all saw from their own eyes that she is the perpetrator of this whole thing. And when I say that the lack of accountability is real, it is.